Hello, everybody, and welcome to, I guess, like my mandatory. I'm a content creator now, so it's mandatory that I make a tier list at some point, or else they take my channel away. I have been moving ever closer to the 1-year anniversary of making Marvel Champions content. That should be the end of December, approximately. And knowing full well that this video could be a little long and could go on for a little while, I decided to give myself a bit of a head start. Probably will publish this, on whatever day it happens to fit into. I believe it was December 18th was my first Asgard versus the Universe video. But I figured what we would do today, just as kind of a nice thing to cap off the year, is I was going to go through every hero and assign them the aspect that I enjoy them in the most, or that I've been exploring the most with them, and just see where we are. We'll have this as a nice little time capsule, and we can come back to it next year. We can see how things have shifted. We can see how wrong I am. In 6 months, we can look at it and go, like, why did I put Spider-Man in, aggression, and why in God's Green Earth is Thor in the pool aspect? We'll get there. But I figured we would move just through the list. Hopefully not make this too long. I imagine it could go on for an hour, and that's the number that I have in my head. Is this will probably be an hour-long video. Lord help me if it goes longer than that. But pretty basic. We're not even going to be getting into like tier listing all of them, because honestly, I would say that with the Marvel Champions heroes, I don't know that 50% of the heroes I've played more than 5 games with. So to really sit there and say like, oh, this is my S tier hero for this reason, and I suppose I probably could do like a top 10 really easily, but like for the 20 that I haven't really played a lot with, it'd be a pretty disingenuous list. But all the talking is done. Let's just get to the list. We're gonna go in order, and it's pretty simple here. Obviously, we've just got each one of the aspects, and I'll put them in an aspect, try to figure out why, and yeah, we'll just go from there. And we'll not even have these in like a particular order, at least in terms of at the onset. I don't plan to say like, well, Spider-Man's over here and Captain America's down here. It's like that's not my intention here. So let's just start it right off with Spider-Man. Where do I see Spider-Man? Oh, this one's easy. There's nowhere that I would put Spider-Man other than protection as of right now in terms of my own play style. I just enjoy using him as a protection character, and playing a lot of the game during the villain phase. I haven't really explored the chance encounter archetype as we saw come out of Nightcrawler yet, but I just think he's probably a good candidate for trying that out, because he already does draw a card. Let's see if he can do some more stuff during the villain phase. Captain Marvel. This one's hard. My gut says to put her into aggression, although honestly, I have enjoyed her in sidekick. I can see her probably going well in like the disposable ally aspect as well. But her and Spider-Woman, I've actually the games that I've played with her as a sidekick have actually been really cool. So that's where I'm going to put Captain Marvel. I'm going to put her in leadership. Black Panther. Iron Man. Iron Man. This one's actually going to be kind of controversial, because I think that there's a really good reason to put him into protection because of the tech. My hope is that by the time we get through the Shield, the Agents of Shield box and that wave, this will shift a little bit. But I don't enjoy Iron Man in like a repurposed deck, and I actually would much prefer to just let him have, like, he's gonna have a smaller hand size. Aggression leans itself towards a smaller hand size, and I've enjoyed him just in like utilizing aerial, doing dive bomb stuff, and just making that happen. So I'm gonna put Iron Man in aggression. Why do I keep doing that? Okay, Black Panther, easy, no question. Right now he is my protection hero. The fact that he has Retaliate 1. I'm so enfranchised in the Change of Fortunes archetype, just doing stuff on the villain phase, that I had to put him there. Next up, She-Hulk. And I gotta be honest, I have started to experiment with her in pool, and just her high life total, and just the amount of time she wants to spend in Alter Ego. I feel like I've been really getting into just Unfortunately, right now it is a lot of a couple pool cards with a lot of basic cards. But I've actually, in my exploration into She-Hulk in the pool aspect, some of it off of Web Warrior Fanatic kind of got me onto this, just looking through his list. And then there were some other decks that are on Marvel CDB that kind of started to make me more aware of what I would do with the character. I actually, she is the first character that I wouldn't say always play in pool, but I think that there's a lot of prospect there to make her into a pool hero. Captain America, easy. His ability wants you to play allies. I want to play him in leadership. I don't know if any new cards have really come out to shift that or if to just empower that, but that's just where my head goes right away. It's Captain Marvel leadership. Same thing with Miss Marvel. Aggression. I have just enjoyed Miss Marvel in aggression, and I don't really want to wander too far away from that. Just her ability to play off of events has just been so strong that, and I think that if you've played with Miss Marvel, you know that. But just I've been impressed with what she's been able to do, and aggression I think is a place for me. Thor, once again, for the longest time I had him in Justice, but the more and more I play, and honestly the going down swinging deck that I built for leadership is also off the Magneto pack has been really fun. But you know what? No, actually, I was going to put him into aggression. I actually really enjoy Thor in leadership right now. I still think I enjoy... Well, let's just skip ahead. I already think that I enjoy Deadpool in leadership a lot. I think I'm enjoying Thor in leadership quite a bit. And that'd be disingenuous. People who are skipping around wouldn't like that. Although I have a feeling that I like Deadpool more than a lot of other people. But no, I spoiler alert for what's coming up. I'm going to probably put Deadpool into leadership. But I've enjoyed Thor in leadership recently. Just everything coming out of the Magneto pack has just been very impressive to me. Let's see. Next, we've got Black Widow. Until further notice, I think Black Widow is definitely Justice. She's going to be the first person I'm going to throw into Justice. She is a bit of like a head scratcher for me. She plays on a level that I'm just not really prepared for, but her deck where she just stays in alter ego and basically plays poker, and then every once in a while flips to like her. No, it is an alter ego action that you can like recur a preparation, and you just basically sit there and infinite thwart and just let your allies do all the stuff. I've enjoyed her. It's a different way of playing, but I've enjoyed her in Justice. I don't think that's really anything too controversial. I think a lot of people feel that way. Doctor Strange. I don't have a lot of strong feelings about Doctor Strange. I feel like even just playing his precon deck, which I'm pretty sure was Protection. I feel like Protection's just kind of the place for him to be. His spell deck, or whatever it's called, his invocation deck, is so strong. You're kind of picking a color just to go with it. And I feel like Protection is nice just to kind of, get some of the parts that he's so on and just kind of keep your life total and everything nice and neat there. Just put out like an assault vest to keep your defense up. Put out some of the tech that just guards the shields. Just make him into a mystic technomancer. Next up, Hulk. Yeah, unfortunately, this is another one where I feel like there's just nothing too much to do other than say he's an aggression. I want the Hulk to be good in other aspects. And there's probably like a Justice Shield deck that lets Shield kind of play the catch-up for him. But for me, and my son gets the most out of Hulk. He plays Hulk, and I'll play Spder-Man because he just loves Spidey and his amazing friends. My youngest is probably going to start playing Spider-Gwen any moment now. I think aggression is just straight and simple. I would like the Hulk to be a little bit more dynamic. I don't know what I would even say is my wish list to kind of change that up, but that's just where we're at. Next up, we've got Hawkeye. Spider-Woman. This is hard because I feel like she could... Well, obviously, she goes into multiple aspects. I should just create Spider-Woman is... Oops, not that. Okay, I was going to get cutesy. I'm not going to get cutesy. Primary Justice. And to be honest, I like Spider-Woman right now in Justice and Protection. So I think the primary thing I want to get out of her is things she can do in Justice. And I like Protection as kind of a complementary thing. I would make another thing, but I'm just not. I'm not going to get cutesy making a category for that. I guess similarly, we'll see where Adam Warlock ends up. And I think probably any day of the week I could probably find any combination I like. Right now, I do like Justice complemented with Protection. Nothing particular. I'll be honest, and she's one of those characters that I've probably played less than 10 times, but that's just where my gut goes. Ant-Man, or no, Hawkeye. Why did I not think about Hawkeye? Okay, Hawkeye. Ooh. I could see a really good reason to put him in leadership. I could also see a good reason to put him into protection, because he is a little fragile. I'm not forgetting that, right? Like, I play him so much that I absolutely have his stats memorized, is what we're learning here. 9 health. Okay, I was thinking he had 8 health. That's still 1 or 2 bad attacks. I want to put him into protection. I think that just in general, I want to keep him safe. I want to bump up, his... Ooh, okay, actually, wait. Now I think about it, he only has 1 in defense. So if you give him an assault vest, he's only going to have 2 in defense. At that point, unless you mulligan hard, I'm going to put him into leadership. I was going to put him into protection, but then I realized that, I don't even know what archetype other than just... some kind of defunct repurposed deck is going to really be good for him there. That was almost a mistake. Okay. Ant-Man. Oh, Ant-Man is easy. Ant-Man is definitely protection. I love Ant-Man in just repurpose. A lot of people would probably put Iron Man as their repurpose hero. I love Ant-Man as repurpose. The moments when you decide that Ant-Man's helmet needs to be the thing to go is hard, but usually that means that something big is about to happen. I have not really I think Repurpose is the only version of Ant-Man that I've ever played. I loved it so much that immediately that I was like, yeah, this is just how I want to play it. This is just it. Wasp. See, I'm looking at the list of them in order on one page just to make sure that I'm doing this in some form or fashion. Whoever set this up, I had to move all the box heroes to the beginning too. Wasp. Wasp is an easy aggression. I think it was... I know it was in one of my videos where I had talked about Valkyrie and aggression, and I had taken some notes from a Wasp deck. Let me just make sure. I'm pretty sure. I want to say it was Boom Guy. Yes, the Unstoppable Excessive Wasp. So it was a deck from about 6 months ago, but basically uses what are those called? Oh, the hand cannons. Using hand cannons with Wasp to give her overkill, and then you go to her giant size where she can split up the damage, and you just overkill. Wasp is my Wasp. I love her like that. Quicksilver. God, this is another low-hanging fruit. I think there's a good reason to put him into a couple of aspects, but I do feel like just I guess what I would consider the Moxie leadership aspect, basically just making his stats as strong as possible. I think the other one is morale boost, where you can just choose a hero and they get +1 on all their stats. I think it's boring. I think it's the boring answer. Quicksilver just being good at make him as strong as possible and then just go to town. It feels like it's kind of a weak answer, but I think it's the definitive answer. I don't really know that I would put him into any other aspects, and someone in the comments is gonna be like, oh, well, why don't you do this? But yeah, he's my build up big, smash, ready up again in a way that's not repurpose. Actually, I wonder if he'll do good with some of the X-Men or some of Magneto's disposable ally stuff. If that will at all help him to kind of take in other things, because that does kind of feel like the same thing. You're trying to make Quicksilver as good as possible, but now you're getting an extra ready off of an ally by discarding them. You're using go down swinging, and what's the other one? Is save the day or something to do damage and do thwarting. I think there might be some exploration of Quicksilver in the future. Quicksilver, and then Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch's Justice. I love Scarlet Witch and Justice. She messes around with the aggression or the encounter deck. I love what she does with the encounter deck. I think that she needs Justice. If she's going to be playing with chaos as much as she does, I think you need to have some control over the encounter deck, and I feel like that is best suited through Justice. Oh, my man Rocket. I don't think there's anything for Rocket other than sort of like the same thing with Wasp. I mean, he naturally wants to do excessive damage. I think that just a hand cannon build, you start to get into things like fluid motion. You get into, I would say you get into the, what's that called? Hone technique. I want to say I get into hone technique, and I probably do. It's just I don't know that he is a dive bomb hone technique deck, but I do think that he does want to just make aggression attack for as much as possible so that he can draw that card. So yeah, he is an aggression hero to me. Next up is Groot. This is going to be just another one of those simple answers. I think Groot in protection. I know some people have made good cases for Justice Groot. I haven't seen it. I don't advocate for that. Although, to be fair, I would say outside of Gamora, I don't have a strong bond to the Guardians, so I just haven't really put them through the paces yet. But I'd put him into protection for now. Star-Lord. This one goes out to Kennedy Hawk because I'm pretty sure he's the one that built the deck where you basically have no Avengers in your deck and you do the card that costs 0 and you just cycle your deck until you discard off top of the deck until you get an Avenger, but there are no Avengers, so all you do is just accrue a face down encounter card. And if you do that enough, all of a sudden, I think you also use what's his name, Caliban to be another copy of that, but you have no X-Force or no X-Men and no X-Factor. So basically you just sit there and you mill out your entire deck, you accrue some encounter cards, and you just make Star-Lord as strong as possible. It's a little reckless. I can imagine it's probably not for everybody, but when I want to play like that, Star-Lord is the person I go to for that. So he is a leadership hero to me. Oh man, Pool is disrespected here. Although, I don't know. I love the idea of the Pool aspect. I just haven't found anybody that I strongly connect with. Gamora Gamora came up first. I want to put her into aggression, but I feel like this is hard because you're basically picking an aspect and complementing it with other things. So outside of events, where would I like to see her? And I feel like if I'm not, because the events, the strong events I want can come out of other aspects, I feel like the best place for her is protection. Let her use like the tech, let her use things like Night Nurse to keep her healthy, the med team to also like keep her HP up, and then just use Justice and aggression events for attacking and for defending, and let those kind of be the complement of her actual card. That way she kind of is a 3-aspect hero in many respects, but I think the core, I want to start her in protection. Also having protection allies, I would say that I would lean towards leadership if I was worried exclusively about the allies, but considering that I want to have good upgrades and supports, I'm going to put her in protection and then let her use aggression and justice to complement her with her card. Drax is protection. I feel like, and this is another one where I just haven't explored enough with everything that came out of Nightcrawler. I think there's probably people out there like shout out to Get Up in Game probably loves what's happened with Drax, although with the amount of time it sounds like he's got with his kids from the very few videos I've seen of him this year, he might not have actually had time to explore Drax with Nightcrawler's deck yet. But if you're listening to this, and I hope you are, go try it out, let me know. Then we've got Venom. Where would I put Venom? He does get 3 weapons, so I feel like Mean Swing is the kind of flavor of the month. So I'm going to put him into aggression in 2. I don't have a strong reason. I think overall Venom is one of those characters that is probably one of the few where I can agree with the community, the online community, that he is very strong. I think I'm okay saying that, and I feel like of all, I in terms of power levels, I don't generally agree with everybody, but I would say I do think I am in the most lockstep with everybody that he is a very strong, well-rounded character, and I think aggression is a place for him. I want to use those weapons, and I want to use them not only to deal some additional damage, but also to just, like I said, use for something like Mean Swing. Spectrum. Spectrum. I'm split right now between leadership and protection, because I feel like the aspect is the most important thing for Spectrum. I don't love her kit. I think I love the idea of her kit, but I feel like she gets stuck in one of her forms really easily. So you need to be backing up what she's doing with a good aspect that complements what she's trying to do. And I think I also feel like she's a multiplayer character. I haven't had a lot of luck with her in single player, which is probably why I haven't played her as much as I'd like to, because I love the idea of her. And I feel like protection is what can help her the most. So I'm going to put her in protection. Then Adam Warlock, I think in this aspect, does need to add one below. Oh, there we go. There we go. I made too many. Delete row. Delete row. So Adam Warlock just goes here. This one is called the Warlock aspect. So he needs to be in everything. Let's even change this to color that's not being used. Orange for the soul star. Sorry. Oh. This is what happens when I allow. This is what happens when I allow myself to look at the other screen too much. So yeah, Adam Warlock gets to sit in his own Adam Warlock tier, because Adam Warlock just plays all the cards. So next up, we've got Nebula. This is another boring one, but I feel like the way that she's built most leans her into Justice. I don't really feel like I have yet to see a deck that really makes me want to play Nebula outside of Justice, because I feel like you need to spend enough time in your alter ego so that you can accrue your techniques, or else you're just burning through them rapidly. And in that case, I guess maybe I'd be looking at aggression, but I want to cue all of them off at just the right time. So I feel like Justice is the place that I would put Nebula. Probably not that controversial. I feel like that's probably the easy answer. Next up, we've got War Machine. I'm also going to put him into Justice, because War Machine at this point has been the best Justice shield deck that I have found. There's been other contenders, other people who I thought maybe we're going to get there, but War Machine has been my shield deck. It's a lot of basic cards, but it also uses a lot of shield cards, because then you can manipulate the encounter deck in ways that I think I've also blended into how I use Scarlet Witch. But at this point, there's no question, if I'm going to play a shield deck, I hope that this also means that while there are going to be probably a lot of positives about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. box, I'm hoping that really just helps to redefine what War Machine is capable of, because maybe there's like a leadership shield deck, or maybe there is an aggression shield deck that we can start to develop. But yeah, right now my heart would be in Justice. And actually, on that thought, because we've seen some of the cards coming out of Nick Fury's deck, I wonder if Iron Man and War Machine could move into a different category, because we're getting basic shield stuff that cares about tech, and obviously Iron Man cares more about tech, but I wonder if that even means that I'd be able to put those two, War Machine and Iron Man, into Pool, because I do feel like Pool is a good place to do experimenting, but you need a strong basic base. And basic is already strong as it is, but I think if you're trying to be experimental with Pool, you want to have purpose. And I feel like the shield box may be the place to finally break free of some of these shackles. So I'm actually happy I'm doing this now that I've gotten here. Vision is... This is boring. Okay, so I was going to put him into leadership, because I do agree with a lot of people. He is a good candidate for using his identity-specific ally, Vivian, and just building her up. And I bet we've seen an awful lot of that, even more apparent now. But I'm on the edge, because I could also see protection being really good for him. We've seen a lot of good things recently. Does he actually? And the thing is, I also don't have vision like the back of my head, so let me just look up the vision pack. I'm trying to think about if he easily gets retaliate, because I think he does. Okay, so his cape gives retaliate. And I know this is already a popular deck. I'm going to put him into protection, because I want to try a version where he gets his cape quickly and does take advantage of things like Victor Mancha. And this is getting out of hand. Oh, Brother Voodoo. Yes, because yeah, okay. So with everything that's been going on with the evolution of the protection aspect, I do think that like we've seen a lot of really good green events, and I think that Brother Voodoo's stock is going up. And I think Vision, for me, is going to have a good future in the protection aspect. I can see him finding a home there in a way that used to be leadership, because I think I was playing mainly bump up the stats on Vivian and just make her as strong as possible. And that might be why the kind of disposable ally archetype is not going to be good for him, because you want Vivian around as much as possible. Voltron's still there, but not the sacrifice everything. Aggression is the place for Valkyrie. There is no question there. I'm trying to make a good case for protection right now, but I think that her home is pretty exclusively in aggression. I don't see a reason to put her anywhere else, and that's where we're going to keep her. It's a simple answer. I don't think anybody's going to fight me on that one. Ghost Spider. I am really sad, because I came into this game. I love the Spider-Man characters. I love both of these characters so much. And I'm just sad that Gwen is really only good in protection. And if there are other... like, I've tried her in aggression. I think she's only good in protection. I just feel like her... And I guess that's okay. And not every hero needs to fit into every aspect, but she only fits into protection for me. I've tried her in aggression. I've tried her in justice. I don't know if I've ever even considered putting her in leadership. The Web Warriors are very strong, but not so strong that I think that she needs to be the head of that. Yeah, she's just a protection hero to me, and I'm a little let down by that. I could see a strong case for Miles to be in leadership. I could see a strong case for him to be in justice. I'm just trying to figure it out. I could also see a really souped up version of Miles in protection, where you use things like hard knocks, and so you are status, you're just Mr. Status tokens. I want to put him into justice because he wants to be an alter ego enough that you want to be able to throw confusion out there, and that's just something that leadership's not going to be able to do for you. And I haven't tried it yet. We've had a year now, so I don't know what my excuse is, but I haven't done like Upside the Head, or what's the other one out of Justice that came out? And there's Cypher, but there was, Float Like a Butterfly. Haven't done all those things. I haven't played Miles enough recently to do that, but I want to explore what came out of Psylocke's pack with Miles. And not to mention, going into the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. box, we're going to get that new keyword that just discards an ally or discards a minion if they're confused or stunned. So I think Miles in Justice, that might be the place for him. So that's where we're going to put him. Seems like a kind of simple answer. My notes put Nova into Justice, because I was just okay. So Nova is a character that I have played all of 3 times. And I need to play some more because, dear God, the new player guides are coming up for this wave like a Spitfire. Maybe I just mistyped that. Put him into Justice. He's an aggression character to me. I feel like he is the dive bomb character, even in a world where he doesn't have Ariel naturally. I think he's the poster child for Dive Bomb, and I don't know why I would have put him anywhere else. Ironheart, I have had a lot of success in leadership. I think that her and Beast are really good friends. I think even kind of in like the same vein as Quicksilver, just like using Moxie to just Moxie, and then the cards that one of them was with Spider-Man Noir, where you thwart for like your combined stats, and I think the other one was Captain Marvel, where you damage for your combined stats. I found her to be really good in that, where you just like, it's not going to necessarily be all the time, and you're not trying to ready her up. You might get her stats really high, and then just go to town and just thwart the main scheme down, or take the villain down a couple notches. I do wish there was a little bit more way for her to get overkill, but then, you know, if everything was that simple, then it wouldn't be as bombastic. But give her the ability to bump up her stats and then do overkill and just like, you know, Kamehameha right through a minion into the villain would be really cool. But no, I just enjoy her in leadership. She's a leadership hero to me. SPDR. Where do we put SPDR? Oh, this was the other one. Okay, yeah. So I have seen some really cool builds. I've only played one or two of them, but Spider in pool has been really cool, and I think that might be a good place to put her. I'm happy I thought about that. She was not one of the characters that had like random question mark notes next to their name. But no, I've enjoyed her in pool. I'm trying to even think about like what the interaction was. I don't remember because she's just so much wild. That might have been the deck where I was able to get plot convenience and the bomb to really like pop off, and pool inspection. She just has she has a really small hand size, so you really have to work for it. But I do think that she is one of those characters that is very capable of making the very, very expensive cards in pool work. I think that she works okay with a few of the allies in pool. Yeah, just overall, I maybe I'll do some more digging into this and come up with an actual like video about trying to sell people on, you know, especially these two heroes in pool and what we can do with them. But yeah, I'm gonna write that down right now. Okay, then next we have Spider-Pig, Spider-Ham. Spider-Ham is protection. Don't even really have a good reason for it. I just feel like he's a very, very good hero. Like Venom, I think I agree with most of the community sentiment that his power level is where it's at. I do think he's very powerful, and I think he's the most powerful in protection. Then next, Colossus, boring answer. Oops, right there. Colossus, boring answer, protection. He wants tough statuses. Protection is the aspect that's going to give you tough statuses. He's also very handy at being able to turn on like the 0 damage taken archetype. And yeah, that's just where he's going to be at. I do like the fact that we're able to kind of pick aspects, but these heroes do have particular archetypes within that aspect that they're good at, where you can kind of call out a single card or series of cards. Okay. Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, is so hard for me because I find her so confusing. And I feel like the only place where I've been successful with her, and we're talking about maybe 6 games, her ability to sort of like get past the crisis icon or whatever that's called, to get past like guard minions and stuff, has made her a really good Justice hero. I'm probably playing her wrong, and there's probably a better place for her. I think that her pre-con deck was aggression, so there probably is something that I'm completely overlooking here. But I've had the most experience and the most success with Kitty in Justice. I will freely admit that she is a confusing hero for me, and I'm probably playing her wrong. Next up, we have Cyclops. I don't know that Cyclops goes anywhere other than leadership. I think the Iceman pack has given him the option to potentially one day grow into aggression, but I think that he wants to be that field commander. He works really well in leadership, and that's just where I'm going to put him. Psylocke. Phoenix. Phoenix is a Justice character to me. I think that there is a very strong point that could be made to put her into aggression, but I think that her deck and the way that she works, and you can let her, once you go, unleashed mode, she plays like an aggression hero, but I think that she just works so well as a team thwarter. So I guess maybe in single player, maybe I'd put her in aggression because I can be that thwarter, and then when I need to, I can turn that dial and just go completely ham and just deal a bunch of damage. But for me right now, the way that I play her the most and the way that I've had the most success with her is also Injustice. Then we have Wolverine. I could see, I like him in protection. I like giving him tough statuses. He gains the life back, which I think makes him a better aggression hero for me. I would even say that to some degree, he could even fall into pool. The fact that he can use those triple resources really well, because for the most part, they're gonna be double resources a lot. He does use his life as a resource though, which I guess sort of is a reason to not go in that. I'm gonna put him into aggression. I think anywhere other than aggression is just me being a little bit pie in the sky. So I'm just going to put him there. Storm, I think, is very easily leadership. I think she is a great multiplayer character. I think she is great in leadership because she can put out a bunch of allies and she can use her weather deck to augment those allies and do really cool things. Gambit is an aggression hero. I think there's a very strong case for him to be just like Black Widow in Justice. I think he can play a very similar deck to Black Widow in Justice, where he sits in Alter Ego and does a lot of cool things there. But for me, I just see him as an aggression hero. I love giving him an attack event that he can just bump up by 2 or 3 damage, per instance of damage, and just, do something really cool there. Rogue. This is a hard one. The problem is I don't play enough multiplayer, and when I do get to play multiplayer, I'm going to put it back down here real quick. When I do get to play multiplayer, Rogue is not the first person I grab, or I know somebody that does play multiplayer Rogue a lot, and so I don't get the chance. Let me think this over real quick. I'm leaning towards protection. Trying to make a okay, so Justice. Is there a reason why I would put her into Justice? Don't really feel like it. I think aggression is another strong one. Leadership, no. Pool, no. She's definitely not in the Warlock tier. There can only be one. I'm going to put her into protection. This is one that I expect to probably be somewhere else in 2025. But for right now, as we're looking at the end of the year, I'm going to put her into protection. Next up, we have Cable. I think Cable works in a lot of different places. I think leadership is a good place for him. I think Justice is a good place for him. I think Justice is the most consistent place for him, because in leadership, I don't feel like he gets to do the side scheme completion as much as possible. I feel like you end up having these nickel and dime situations where the allies end up doing enough thwarting that you sort of get out of tempo. And so there aren't enough things that can be attributed back to Cable doing something. So I think Justice is where you give him a couple extra events that thwart, and you can be able to get a side scheme out, ready him back up. I think that he does a lot of really good things in his kit is strong, but I think that he needs Justice just as that extra backbone to make sure that he's getting credit for the side schemes going somewhere. And yeah, I might be overselling something that everybody's like, well, yeah, we know that, Ryan, just go with that. Domino, protection hero. I love her. She is very similar to Ant-Man, just the I don't know that she repurposes, but she uses the tech from repurpose decks really well. And that just keeps her safe. And then she's able to just kind of do her thing. Her kit is very, very strong. I think she could, if I could, I'd put her into like the basic aspect. I think her and Deadpool, ironically, I think could both be basic aspect. And their kits are just so good that they would just make it happen. Not to mention the fact that I think there's a case to be made that basic is a very strong non-aspect in its own. Angel. Where would I put Angel? Angel is going to go into aggression. I think that the Archangel side is strong enough that even if all you're doing is, you're using a 2-cost aggression thing, like, no, that's cost 1. Is it no quarter? No quarter costs 2, I think. Great podcast. Okay. Yeah, no quarter costs 2. Even if you're doing something small like no quarter, where you're just adding an additional 2 damage to Archangel's ability, I think you're going somewhere. Even just that, you get the 4 damage, take out an enemy, you get some cards back, you use Archangel's ability to deal 2 damage somewhere else. Like, even if it's just something small like that, let alone, a full body charge where you're getting 4 damage. Like, until we can figure out some way to make Archangel pool work where the bomb can just like deal a bunch of damage. So that's 6, right? Yeah, 6. So until we can get to the point where Archangel can carry da bomb and just deal 10 damage to the villain, 1 damage to each enemy and hero for the icons in play, plus another 6 damage. Like, once we reach that point, Angel can move to pool, but right now I don't see that happening. And so we're just going to keep him in aggression because I think that is a good place for him. And I do think that his kit does kind of carry some of the load of the other aspects for him. He does have decent ways of mitigating damage. He has ways of gaining retaliate. And while his thwarting isn't the best, I think that being a 3-sided hero, you had to pick an aspect to play into, and I think aggression is the place for him. I feel like I'm saying a lot about these characters that I didn't think I had strong opinions on some of these characters. I guess is where I'm trying to get to. Psylocke. I mean, she's Justice. I'll freely admit, I feel like I play Psylocke wrong. I feel like I'm just not a good enough player to play Psylocke, but Psylocke, to me, goes into Justice very well. Next up, same thing. I think X-23 can do a lot of things. I think that putting her into Justice is just a really cool place. I think that Sidekick, her and Honey Badger with Sidekick, does get interesting. But I think it was even in a video I did earlier this year. If I want to play Justice and it's available, I'm playing X-23. X-23 is really fun in Justice. I guess even as I'm sitting here, as I'm going through everything, I'm realizing that like I haven't defined a lot of archetypes for Justice in my mind. Where it's like, oh well, yeah, you'll play this deck. Everybody knows that deck for this archetype or for this aspect. But like Justice, I suppose, has like a shield archetype. It has things like the confused lock and everything, but like those haven't like solidified in my mind where I'm just like, well, everybody knows this. But yeah, I don't know. I can't define what the cards I put around X-23 that make Justice come alive for me. But it just does it for me. I love her in Justice. Yep, Deadpool. We've already been over this. If you were paying close enough attention, you would know Deadpool is my sidekick go-to leadership character. I love Cable as sidekick. Just is I love it, and it completely plays into exactly what I want to do. Deadpool is out there. He's doing Yoo-hoo. He's doing maximum effort. He's doing this card is fire, and Cable just gets to sit there and be the best sidekick he can be. I have to imagine that there is, because Cable's stats can get so high, I would imagine that there are a couple cards from Magneto that will probably go very well in that deck that I just haven't explored yet. But yeah, Deadpool is one of my go-to leadership characters every time. Bishop, I did not realize I had this bias towards protection. Protection is not necessarily one of my favorite aspects, but Bishop in protection is so cool. I've enjoyed the decks that I've played with him there. He just gets to build up stuff in his hand. I think what makes protection good for him is that you can afford to let your hand just kind of expand out, and that's what Bishop wants to do. He wants to collect a bunch of resources in his hands, or in your hand, and I think protection just facilitates that. It allows him to kind of cut off a couple points of damage to himself. He wants to take damage, but you don't want to take so much damage that you're constantly on the edge of being defeated. Obviously, he has the card in his kit, I think it's his armor or whatever, where he takes some damage, he gets to kind of regrow some of that. And yeah, I've been very impressed with Bishop in protection. Magik is a aggression character through and through to me. I'll freely admit, again, I don't have a lot of experience with her, but every time I've played her, the most fun I've had is with her in aggression. I know I've played her a double-digit amount of times, but I feel like aggression has been the place where I've enjoyed Magik the most. For as much as I sang the praises of Iceman, I played him a bunch of times for like the first 2 weeks he was out, and then kind of stopped. All of it was in aggression. I have not explored him outside of that. So for right now, he's going to be in aggression just because, honestly, I just haven't really wanted to play him recently, and nothing's been like, oh, I need to try that. Protection is probably a good candidate, but it just hasn't happened. Then we have Jubilee, who, I want to put her in aggression. I want to put her in justice. I think there's a strong reason for both of them. I'm going to put her into justice only because I think she needs a little bit of help thwarting, if I recall correctly. She's another character where, I guess partially because I didn't want to get pulled into the cult of new, I played with her a lot at the beginning, and then just like her gameplay loop just didn't inspire me, and so I kind of fell out of it a little bit. But I'm just going to throw her into justice. Nightcrawler, where we sit currently, Nightcrawler as a protection hero. I think he can be more than that, but I just haven't reached a point where I want to try him in anything else. And then Magneto has been out for, at the time of recording, 2 weeks. I've enjoyed him in leadership. I think there's a strong case for him to be in aggression too, but as of right now, I do sort of like him just slightly defending himself with allies to just sort of keep himself safe. I haven't found a home for him yet where I'm really like sitting there and go, this is exactly what I want. So it's probably not that controversial. He's been out for only a few weeks, so it's not like I'm really spitting in the face of anybody here, but I'd put him in leadership. Yeah, that's where we sit. At the end of 2024, this is where I would put every hero into every aspect list. And yeah, well, look at that. We came in at just under an hour, so that's pretty good. So overall, I guess this is kind of an extension of the video I did earlier this year, like September-ish, October-ish, where I named off my favorite heroes in every aspect. So I'm going to raise that question for the comments. What is your favorite hero in each of these aspects? Is there a character that you think could go into Pool? Because Pool is obviously underrepresented here. Is there a character that you think works really well in Pool outside of She-Hulk and Spider? But until the next video, I will see you all then. Have a great day, and yeah, thanks.